Blue, the color of the lights that shine as her mother opens the door. "Excuse me, officer," she says, wondering what's in store. "Is something wrong?" she asks, thinking the stop regards graduation tomorrow. "Yes, ma'am, you might want to sit down," he replies, giving away his sorrow. "Is something wrong? What's wrong? Tell me what's wrong," she demands, but she knows from the look in his eye that it isn't dropping her daughter off at college where she'll have to say goodbye. "Wrong," she says, over and over. "Wrong, wrong, wrong." She holds on to the word like she held her daughter's hand, as grief blurs before her eyes and she is too weakened to stand. Yellow, the color of the missed yield sign, the color that separates coming and going with double lines. White, the color of the graduation dress she should have worn. Instead, her peers wear the opposite as they mourn. She had a shining future before her, but she had been robbed. Gone was that future, released with her mother's strangled sobs. She had been hit by a drunk driver on her way home. He had been drinking for days, trying to quell his fears of a life spent alone. Orange, the color of the county jail jumper he wears in his cell, the color he wears as he relives that night in a perpetual hell. Rose, the color of her complexion that had reddened with fear as his car slipped out of his lane and towards her it veered. There wasn't a moment left to think, his thoughts hazy from the beers he had just needed to drink. He hated himself before the crash, hated what he'd become. Now he thinks of what he did, and he's completely numb. He sees the face of the girl that he hit, he sees her pupil dilate, and wishes he had quit. One last drink, one better decision, and his life would be different. He thought he was immune, he'd always been ignorant. Green, the color of her little old car that is now pieces and parts in a pile, the color of her eyes that lit up when she smiled. Gold, the color of the drink that caused him to take a young girl's dreams. It was a problem to outsiders, but to him, it wasn't as bad as they made it seem. Too little too late, he learned his lesson from a girl that believed in knowledge. He learned his lesson as he took his place in a jail cell and left hers empty at college. Black, the color that marks all those that she loved and who love her in return. She'd had something to give, always looking for a lesson to learn. She had had it all, and her loved ones watched it go up in flames, because of a drunk driver that couldn't tell the difference between lanes. Black, the color of their loss, the color of the dice he had decided to toss. Black, the color of innocence gone in a moment, the color of an addiction that was his, yet he'd refused to own it. Black, the color of the soul that took a young girl's life, the color of the memories that haunt him in the night. Black, the color of sadness. Black, the color of grief. Black, the color of death. Black, the color of the text that appears in pamphlets produced by her peers that educate others on drinking and driving and the loss that aged them beyond their years. Her death had left its mark, both permanent and dark. A lesson was taught to a man too late, and they were eager to have no others suffer from her fate. Stated simply and earnestly at the bottom of the page, they remind others of their lost friend and her killer who rots in his cage. The cover reads in a pleading voice, reminding others to make the right choice. Please, don't drink and drive. Please, arrive alive.